About 4 months ago, we moved out of our house and into this Airstream. And while it's been too soon to know who would actually recommend this lifestyle to you, we have noticed a list of 10 things that you might not know unless you've lived in one of these things full time.
Let's go. If you don't already have an Airstream or you've just taken yours on weekend trips, you might not realize that there's a lot of noise that happens when you're sleeping in this thing overnight, especially if you're camping in a place where it gets hot in the night, cold in the morning, and your Airstream's constantly changing temperature. What happens is the whole shell of this thing is expanding and contracting, the rivet joints are moving, and this thing can really creak a lot at night. It might freak you out at first, but it's not anything structural, but it might keep you up at night.
All right, the second thing is these things hold more than you think. They actually hold so much that you can be overweight. When we moved out of our house, we packed in here the essentials, everything that we thought we would need. And now, since we're in the city that our storage is in, we have gone back through this, and there are so many things that we put in here that we don't actually use every day, so they are out of here.
And if you're not even familiar with how do you know if you're overweight, on the inside of your door, there's a sticker that says the maximum amount of cargo that you can put in your Airstream. It's not really practical to weigh everything as you bring it in. So you got to get familiar with going to one of those cat scales at a truck stop and weighing your camper with it disconnected to know if you're over your maximum capacity. We were right there at the border after we loaded this thing, but I feel like we've got some wiggle room now. We have an entire video dedicated to learning how to do that thing at the cat scale. So we'll put a link to it down below too.
Okay, you know that feeling when you walk into an Airstream at the dealer or at an RV show and all the windows are open, or you see a picture on Instagram and you just see how beautiful it is to look at all the amazing Airstream windows? Well, that's unfortunately not the reality. Depending on when and where you're camping, you're gonna keep a lot of these windows closed a lot of the time. We keep the bedroom pretty much like this all of the time. We don't ever open these windows. Either we don't want people to see in, or it's too hot and we're trying to keep the light and the heat out. Same goes for here. I mean, there's plenty of light pouring in, don't get me wrong, but right now it's 4:30, it's 95 degrees out there in South Texas. We've got our skylights closed with the solar shields in them. We've got these upper windows closed, and a lot of times we keep these about halfway closed just to help block some of that heat. The thing I love about Airstream windows is you can't really see in them during the day. The only time you can really see directly in is if it's nighttime outside and you have your lights on. So you can keep a lot of the windows open and still have some privacy.
Another thing you find out pretty quick when you live in this full-time is you are in the full-time business of managing these awnings. You have to watch for wind, you have to know what direction the sun is coming from, because you really want to keep your awnings out as much as possible to help the AC not have to work so hard, especially in the summer. Think about the campsite that you're going to, put your awnings out as early as you can to stop the sun, and it'll go a long way to keep your rig cool. Here's a little pro tip for you. If you have a choice when you get to pick your campsite, try to put the sun on the opposite side of your door so that your rig will actually give you shade in the afternoon and you can hang out over here in the shade.
All right, number 4, while this is a smaller space and there's less to clean, you are cleaning more often, especially when you have 2 hairy mutts traveling along with you. I am dusting the couches off, I am vacuuming this rug, vacuuming the floor several times a day. We highly recommend something like this, that if you have a rug in here, that you can get like a carpet attachment to it. And then also like the dustbuster attachment. This thing works wonders, and it's wireless, so you don't have to worry about like a cord dragging behind you while you clean. It's quick to clean, but you definitely are cleaning way more often. Another thing is, of course, you don't have a dishwasher, so anytime you use a dish, you gotta wash a dish. It's a whole cycle. It's fine, just saying. If you want to check out this vacuum and all the products we recommend, we do have an Amazon store that we'll link below.
All right, the 5th thing you're gonna learn if you go full-time in your Airstream is you're gonna have 2 new part-time jobs. Number 1 is being a meteorologist, and number 2 is you're gonna be a travel planner. What do they call it?
Travel agent.
And number 2 is you're gonna be a travel agent. Here's the deal. There's severe weather all over the United States, and one of your jobs as a full-timer is to try to avoid severe weather. We've already been in 2 hailstorms in our Airstream, and we've encountered severe weather all over the place. So just know one of your new jobs is to research where can you go, where do you want to go, what are the reviews going to be like, what is it going to cost, what is the weather going to be like. It really is a lot of work.
So one of the things I thought going from a house to an RV was like, I'm gonna have so much time. In this cabinet above me, I've got like sewing projects, coloring books, puzzles, and things like that. I have done none of them because I really feel like you have less time. Every chore that you have to do, you used to be able to multitask in a house. Like you could put laundry in, go do something else, you know, etc., etc. In an RV, everything you do is outside of the RV. We go to a gym now to work out. We have to go to laundromats or use the RV parks laundromats to go do laundry. Anything that we do now, you're just like, it's an extra drive, it's an extra excursion out of your RV. So it really feels like your days are shorter versus longer.
All right, the next thing is, and this is really specific to Airstreams too, there's not a lot of outside storage on Airstreams, so you're gonna probably have to use your tow vehicle as overflow storage. We have to keep extra drinks in here that we don't have room for in the refrigerator, and then we just put them as we need. We have to keep our gym bags in the truck because we don't have any room for them in the camper. The dogs are occupying the whole seat most of the time, so that definitely robs into our space, and then I'll show you here in the tailgate too. We interrupt today's video to bring you our sponsor of this video. We're sponsored by none other than us, Digital Barbell. You're watching this on a YouTube channel called Digital Barbell because my wife and I own an online training and nutrition coaching company called Digital Barbell. Whether you're in great shape now, or you used to be in great shape and you want to get back, or you've never worked out before, you're our people. We can help you get in shape with a training program built for your needs that will meet you where you are, help you get better all the time. If nutrition is something that you struggle with, well, that makes you pretty normal. We help people build better nutrition habits through education and sustainable nutrition changes that don't involve restrictive diets and all that kind of crazy stuff. If you want to see your options to work with us, I'll put a link below. So some of the things we have to put in the back of the truck that we don't have room for in the camper is like bulky, dirty clothes like towels and dog stuff. This dry bag right here is full of extra shoes that we don't have room for. And then we keep our entire home gym in the back of our truck too, along with emergency supplies and cleaning products. We actually have a whole separate video on our entire home gym that we travel with, so we'll put a link to where you can check that out in the description below too.
Number 8, and this one's serious. Even if you have a new Airstream, bugs, rodents can get in. We had this thing parked at our house. It was 1 year old, and mice had a party in here. They were in the lower cabinets. They were all over the bed. Oh, it was horrible. Since then, we have actually taken steel wool and like went underneath the camper and clogged up all the places that we could where they could potentially get in, and we haven't had any more problems, and we have a whole video linked on how we did all that too. But just know that even though you might have a brand spanking new Airstream or travel trailer, they can still get in.
Okay, so if you're thinking about buying an Airstream or you already own one, you know that Airstreams are expensive. And I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people consider living in them, us included. So I just want to temper your expectations that even though Airstreams are really expensive, there's definitely going to be things that break and a lot of things that have to be maintained in the process. We've popped several rivets in the time that we've owned this thing. Several hinges have broken that we've had to fix. Drawer slides have broken. We blew a fuse on our microwave that I had to disassemble the entire thing to fix. The steps have had issues. Basically what I'm saying is that just because it's expensive doesn't mean there isn't going to be maintenance required. Lucky for all of us, all the things you're supposed to do to maintain your Airstream are printed in the manual. Follow that thing and your life will be a lot easier. I don't want to scare you though. I will say that we would both agree that this Airstream is really high quality. I mean, nothing major has broken. They've all just been little things that are just part of routine maintenance. So if you're nervous about that, I wouldn't be.
All right, and the last thing is these things sweat. Picture a Coke can sitting on a counter. It's gonna start to sweat. These suckers are aluminum on the inside. So if it's cold outside, warm in here, these things might sweat a little bit. All right, so there's the list. These are the things that we've noticed after actually living in the Airstream that we didn't really notice when we were just using it like on weekends or week-long trips, just camping in it. So if you guys live in your Airstream or any other travel trailer full-time and you have some things to add, let us know, drop them in the comments. I'd be curious to see what you guys have experienced as well.
That's right. Thanks for watching.